Welcome to Studyclix and IT Sligo's Live. My name's Nessa. I'm going to be hosting it this evening. So we're going to be chatting to three students, two from IT Sligo and our own Luke, who's in first year in UL. IT Sligo are hosting their open evening this evening, so that when this is over, that's on at 7 p.m. So when this is over, just head straight over to that. I'll just say really quickly about IT Sligo is they've told me that they have over 40 Q&A booths, so that you can like chat to students and chat to lecturers and get really engaged with the course. So definitely head over to that. So the first student I'm going to be talking to is Elaine. She's a second year student in IT Sligo. She does forensic science and investigation analysis. And so I'm going to be asking her to join now. Hopefully she's going to be chatting to us about her course and how she's getting on with studying remotely. Hi Elaine, how are you?
I'm good, yeah. How are you?
Good, thanks. I'm just going to start out with the first question. So how did you decide, like your course is so interesting, how did you decide that forensic science and investigation analysis was the course for you?
I kind of always knew, like as a young kid, I was always like dressing up in high vis, like pretending to be a guard and doing little investigations in the garden. I always had an interest in it. And then one Christmas, I ended up actually getting a new Scotland Yard kit, and it had a dusting kit in it. So for testing for fingerprints, and a mold for testing for different like little marks and stuff to, identify a tool mark and stuff like that. So I fell in love with it from then. But like I always kind of explored my options. Like I thought about teaching and it didn't really appeal to me. And I did a bit of like microbiology. So like I was really drawn towards science, especially from school. Like I love like the fact that you can actually like figure out these things. So when it came to actually like choosing my course, I was looking at IT Sligo, and all the different things that they had available online was showing me what you could do. And I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do, because it's just so cool. Like one of the things we actually get to do, if you don't mind, I'll show you a picture, is a cast of a shoe print. And it's so cool. Like last year we got to go to a shooting range, and because we're studying ballistics, so you're testing for gunshot residue and stuff like that.
That is so cool. I'm like jealous. I want to go change course, do that now. I was going to ask you how you find like IT Sligo is like so hands-on and all that. So like that is brilliant. We were actually saying before we came on that you were telling me that you actually have dyslexia, and you have like, do you have any tips for how you kind of study when you have like, does that impact you a lot, or what would you give to someone else who's in your position?
During my Leaving Cert, it was extremely difficult because not many people knew what it was. Like when people hear of dyslexia, they're like, what is it? Is it like an actual physical disability? It's like just that your brain is wired differently. And like I just have to figure out my way of learning. And coming through school, it was extremely difficult because nobody knew how to deal with it. So I was just I felt a little bit left on the outside, but my teachers were still trying to include me in it. So like how I kind of started to learn was by actually recording notes and stuff like that at home, and then I could listen to them myself, because like I learned by listening and actually physically doing it. So like looking at different diagrams as much as I could, I would draw as many diagrams as I could, just because if I can visually see something, I can learn it. And like that's something I would tell to other people with dyslexia. You can have like a mild form, you have a very strong form of it, but if you're able to like visually see something, it's much easier to learn. And I find colors is the same thing. Anything with colors in is such more appealing rather than looking at black and white writing, because the words just disappear that way. So like mind maps, flashcards, things like that work brilliantly for me, and that's something that I had to learn. And I were on the ball straight away with all the supports they could give to me. Like they brought me in for like a session to discuss the things I needed. So they talked to me about the academic learning center and writing center, so they could actually help you if you're doing assignments and stuff like that. They can proofread your assignments and guide you on how to do it properly, which is you can't say no to something like that when you have that a disability that doesn't allow you to write and read properly. So yeah, it doesn't as much hinder me as it did before, but Sligo have definitely taught me a lot about it.
That's so amazing that all the resources are there, because like it does sound like you need to work that little bit harder than everyone else, and it's already so hard.
Yeah,
but like that's such a good point for anyone who's like struggling, like everyone has that thing with like studying and it just not going in. It's so important to look at other methods and see what works for you, kind of a thing. So I have my list of questions here for you. You're in IT. Am I right in saying you're on a sports scholarship in IT Sligo?
I'm doing.
How did that come about?
Funnily enough, I actually didn't apply for it before I came to college. I never really thought I was good enough, to be honest with you. But I came to training, this first time training session, and I was just going along playing football how I'd normally play. And I actually previously played 5 years with Galway ladies, and I just came to training and they said to me, they're like, look, where are you from? I told them then the story, that I've played for Galway before, and they're like, why haven't you applied for a scholarship? And I was like, I just didn't think, it was a thing. And like, I had heard about it, and like we had speakers come in from IT Sligo, and I didn't think anything of it. And they pushed me to go for it. And 2 weeks later, after I filled it in that evening, I got an email to say, come in for a interview. So I did, and I spoke and I made my case, and then 3 days after that, I got told I was on scholarship. So I was delighted.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so good.
It's not like.
Handy out. What's my next question? Okay, so this is the question I'm going to ask all of the guests, but what is your best tip for students who are struggling with remote learning now that everything is online and schools are closed, that you're kind of in a similar position with, you're doing a lot of stuff in your bedroom as well?
Yeah, because everyone, we're tired. You're looking at a laptop for 6-8 hours a day. You're going to be tired, and that's something, that we've all thought about. And for me, I have to break it up, or else I'm going to go insane looking at a computer all day.
Absolutely.
So I would just, tell students, take a little break, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And if you find 10 minutes too long, that you're getting hard to sit back into it. And that's something, we all have to think about as well. It's I've taken a break, I'm not going back into it. So I would tell, breaks, get yourself a little bit of structure, and kind of, plan little activities for yourself, whether you play music, say, oh yeah, I'll play music for 10 minutes and then I'll go back and do my study, because you've got that little bit of free time now. You're going to want to learn again, and set yourself little goals, oh, I want to learn this specific thing about this chapter today. That's how I do it with my assignments and stuff. I know fine well I'm not going to get my assignment done in one day, so I take it at 5 days at a time, because then I can do a little bit per day, and then I can think about and make sure I'm extremely happy with what I've written. So my goal is to do how many words per day, and then that way I can get it done and it's not as stressful, and then I'm not as tired, instead of sitting at a laptop trying to type and not being able to think at all.
That's so good. That's that's really interesting, and people need to find these other ways of getting study tips and all of this. It's 10 to now, so I need to bring on Luke, but you were amazing. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Bye. I think
Bye.
I'll just click the X here and say goodbye to you. Oh, there we go. So it's back to just me again. So that's what we're doing. We're kind of doing really quick 10 speed interviews, and I'm going to invite Luke on now. So he is a first year student in UL, and he's a recent addition to the Studyclix team. So he's going to be talking about first year in college, and because he was... Oh, hi Luke, how are you?
Hello, how are you, Nessa?
So I was just introducing you there because you're the only one of our guests tonight who did the Leaving Cert last year.
Yeah.
So you can relate to a lot of Leaving Certs this year who are feeling that same uncertainty about whether or not this is going to happen. How do you deal with this really stressful time? So I suppose that's the first thing I'll ask you is, do you have a tip for getting through this period now when things are so uncertain?
Yeah, I thought that for me anyway, last year, obviously we were in a similar situation kind of, but it was closer towards the end of the year rather than, this is at a very awkward time. We're just kind of heading towards mocks and stuff like that for the Leaving Certs currently. But I think the hardest part for me was motivating myself to do extra study, which you would be expected to do in Leaving Cert, obviously, on top of motivating myself to do the bare minimum schoolwork that the teachers are sending us. And because obviously when you're in a school, when you're in a classroom situation, you're sitting there surrounded by your classmates in that kind of driven school situation where your teacher is the one motivating you. You can't get distracted. You can't just get up and walk out of the room. You can't watch Netflix. You can't go on your phone. You're just in that situation. Whereas when it's online, you're having to motivate yourself to even do that. So then it's very hard to draw the line between that kind of motivation, and then motivation to do extra study on top of the new stuff you're learning in the curriculum. So I found that the thing that I found easiest with that, and the tip that I give to any Leaving Cert doing that, would be literally to focus on kind of more practical ways of learning as you study. So I know that like when I had to learn remotely for the Leaving Cert, I mainly done exam papers because I was already spending half the day sitting down trying to drill a book into me, trying to get that information into me that way, like how I would in school, except without a teacher. So to focus on exam papers, like sample essays, like practicing like your oral by listening to the tapes and going through it, working out maths equations, whatever, just kind of more practical based rather than sitting there and trying to just absorb information from a book.
Yeah, that's such a well-rounded answer as well. Thank you. Um, I was going to say it was a bit different for you, but it is coming up to filling out the CAO now, and I know that you did say you struggled with that, especially
Yeah.
like during kind of closer to the end date in June. But do you have tips now, like because it is very much online? What would be your tips
Yeah.
for someone who's filling out their CAO that you've gone through it now and like, oh, I wish I knew that back then, kind of a thing?
Yeah, like it was a struggle big time for me. I don't know. I was kind of one of those people that would change their mind every week. I'd have a different career path mapped out for myself, and I just couldn't really decide on anything. And I think advice that I give to a Leaving Cert would be not to focus too much on what you're going to do after the Leaving Cert, and make sure to focus on the Leaving Cert itself, because I definitely spent too much time worrying about what I was going to do after rather than getting the grades I needed and stuff like that. So obviously towards the end I had more time to think about what I was going to put down. And I basically completely switched my CAO. Like I had originally down speech and language therapy, and I kind of had it down just because I knew that at the end of the degree, I could say I'm a speech and language therapist, and it would just be a job that I could go into and stuff like that. And then I kind of realized that really what I should be looking for is more something that I'm actually genuinely interested in, because at the end of the day, you have to sit through 3-4 years of the course, and you don't want to absolutely hate it. So I think to find a subject in like secondary school that you enjoy, if you could find anything that relates to that. So I know for me, I do Law Plus in UL. So obviously history and English and things like that would have been really interesting to me. Like I like writing essays, like recalling information and things like that. So a science course wouldn't have suited me, or I would not have enjoyed it as much as I enjoy this course. And as well, I wanted to continue studying French because I really enjoyed French, like quite passionate about French, and I wanted to have that kind of extra language. It's so like for employability and everything. So I kind of needed to find a course that would suit that too. And no science course really, you can't really do French in any science course. So I knew it was going to have to be something like arts and humanities kind of thing. So law was perfect for me, especially with the plus option of the UL course.
Yeah, that's so good. So you're happy so far in your course?
Yeah, I love it. I love
It's
it.
all
It's
going
very,
well.
very interesting. Yeah. Even though I'm sure it would be better if we were on campus and not like we're entirely online now, but I did move to Limerick anyway to kind of a change of scenery. I definitely needed a change of scenery after months locked in my house for lockdown.
Yeah. Oh my God. So yeah, that was gonna be my next question. So like despite that everything is online and you probably could do it from where you're from, which is Sligo,
Mhm.
whether that you still moved on campus to
I
Limerick.
did, yeah.
So how do you feel that makes a difference or the benefits of that?
Yeah, I think it's just yeah, the biggest thing for me was definitely the change of scenery. Like after trying to and trying being the key word there, study for the Leaving Cert from home and stuff when I couldn't go to school or anything was just painful. And the thought of like having to learn everything, this brand new course, brand new meeting brand new people and things like that, like it's easier to do it in a brand new situation. So for everything to be new, and obviously with COVID and stuff, it's difficult to meet new people still. But I know when we came first, it was kind of easier. I know it's like full lockdown now, but a lot of I know in UL at least, a lot of the houses are arranged that you'll be in a house with people doing the same course as you. So thankfully, I've been able to make friends that way, and also the library is open. Well, I'm not sure if it is anymore, but it has been for the whole of semester one, which was so helpful to me because obviously unbelievable resources in the library. So I definitely think that moving on campus was a great decision for me anyway.
Yeah, and you get the whole thing of like moving away from home and you
Yeah,
have that
exactly.
freedom and everything as
Exactly.
well. It's better for your mental health in general and that
100%.
whole experience. That is so good. What is my next question for you? I had like a kind of a general, what's your best tip for students struggling with remote learning? But you covered so much in the first question that I asked
Yeah.
you. But I hope I don't put you on the spot now, but I saw that question did come in though saying how do you study for, or how do you engage in online classes, or how do you study for those?
With the Leaving Cert or now in college?
Now in Leaving Cert, sorry, did you do any online classes back in April or May?
Yeah, we did. So, yeah, I didn't. They were difficult, like to be honest, because it's just nothing like it's nothing like, especially when, fair enough, maybe if I was in first year or something when it started, when you don't know any different or things like that. Like now, I don't know any different to learning online in college, whereas when I was in Leaving Cert, I had done 6 years of only classroom. So then the switch from that constant classroom to online was like really difficult. I think the like main thing is just kind of to like not to be too harsh on yourself, I guess, because I know a lot of people would be, and to remember that literally everybody's in the same boat. Like I really don't think anybody has the upper hand in this situation. It's just overall not good. So I
That
mean, listen, you'd like you have to make the best of a bad situation, I guess. I mean, it's not the worst, but it is difficult, and everyone knows that, and the teachers acknowledge that too, even though it might not seem like they do sometimes.
okay. There was another question I was going to ask myself, but you're honestly so much better than me at this, so I'm going to ask it to you too. If what the question we got when we put in the question box a couple of days ago, one was that like their teacher doesn't do as many online classes as they kind of hoped,
Yeah.
and what would you do if you were in that situation?
Yeah, okay. I think if I was in that situation again, when you think about it, teachers are really helpful, but then they like to remind you all the time that a teacher only accounts for like 2% of your actual grade, as in like the teacher doesn't make a difference. There's no such thing as a bad teacher ruining a subject. You know, you hear that all the time. And I guess like part of that is true, but then also when you think about it, the Leaving Cert at the end of the day is absolutely a memory test. It's trying to remember exactly what you've learned and trying to apply that into the test. And thankfully, it's also like the idea of having past papers and knowing kind of the same question can't, they're not going to make up a brand new question off the top of their head. They don't sit there and pluck things from a curriculum that we've never heard of. Like everything that can be asked has already been asked already. So if you
Mm.
look at exam papers were my savior pretty much. But if you look at exam papers and things like that, then really like there's only, it can't go that badly wrong. You will find your exam will have questions in it that are just reworded from other exams.
Okay, yeah, that is it. And nice plug for Studyclix there.
Exactly.
Just use all the past papers. Luke, you've already said so much. I can't believe that's only 10 minutes. I learned so much from you in those 10 minutes. I hope
No,
other
thank
people
you.
did too. But I'll say slán to you. You did brilliantly. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Bye.
See ya.
Move Luke. Okay, back to just me again. So the third person we're going to have on is Dara, who's a fourth year student in, oh, he's right there. More than cute. Everyone's so punctual this evening. He's a fourth year sports and business student in IT Sligo. So he's going to be talking about his course and his tips for studying in isolation. Hi there, how are you?
Nessa, how are you?
Good, thank you. I was what was I had pretty much introduced you. I thought was there something else I need to say about you, but I'm right in saying you're a fourth year student in sports and business.
Third year now, but it's only a 3-year course, so yeah, final year.
Oh right, you're final year, yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you decide that was the course for you? And did you say something you had trouble with like the CEO, or it was a last minute decision for you?
Yeah, so it was a very, very last minute decision. For when I decided to go, I don't think it was even on my CEO. I think I had like I just filled out my CEO for the sake of filling it out. I had like law, English, arts, I had every single thing possible on my CEO. So yeah, no, it was definitely last minute. I called up the college and I would to see if they could take me despite being at my CEO. But I suppose in Leaving Cert, I started getting very passionate about sports and training and coaching. So I initially planned to take a gap year. I quickly figured out that this course, sports and business, it was offering personal training, strength and conditioning qualifications, and business, and it was a degree as well, honors degree. So it was very, very good bang for the buck, and it was including everything. So yeah, last minute after looking at some very interesting modules and basically it ticked all boxes for me. So that's when I decided to join it and ask could I join it, and yeah, absolutely flying it and have no regrets. So
You never look back. That's so good, because like
absolutely.
it can be such a stressful time. I know there's like Leaving Cert watching now who are already dealing with everything that's going on right now on top of Leaving Cert, and now they have to decide their future, and they're only 17, 18, so like it is so tough. Um, do you have any tips for anyone else who's kind of similar to you, who kind of doesn't know what they want to do
Um,
wouldn't know what to do this stage?
Yeah, I suppose there's enough uncertainty at the moment with the pandemic, and I think a lot of the times, well, I definitely was anyway. I was stressing where I was going to be in 6, 12 months time. I was really, really focusing on down the line instead of the now. This was a very last minute decision. I'm a big believer in, if there's something for you, it won't pass you, and everything will work out in the end. So I definitely ended up in the right place. I have a few friends who, they might have taken a gap year, or they weren't initially studying what they were studying and ended up doing it and loving it. So I definitely do think whatever's for you, you won't miss out on, and it won't pass you. So it all works out in the end. So try to take the pressure off a little bit on where you're going to be in 6, 12, 18 months time, and just focus on getting through it now and getting baby steps towards it. So
yeah, that's what we need to do now, is just focus on the post-vaccine world when we're all happy and life is
absolutely,
good again.
yeah, absolutely.
So you do sports and business. Do you want to say a little bit about the course and the kind of the stuff that you get to do?
Yeah, so first year was very, very practical, and was very, very good and enjoyable. We had modules like surfing, we were doing gym instruction, health and fitness, all the business sort of subjects, so accounting, economics, management, everything like that. So really, really was a good mix, and a good 50-50 mix of both sports and subjects that you tend to enjoy a lot more, and the more boring subjects that like economics for me anyway, and stuff like that. So it was really, really enjoyable first year. And second year again is same setup. So you definitely did do a lot of I believe the year above us was doing canoeing, and we did surfing, and just really, really good non typical subjects and modules like that you're getting credits for going out surfing every Wednesday morning in Strand Hill. So that was really enjoyable. And then in third year you get your personal training, strength and conditioning, all those qualifications. So that's how the course has been so far, but it's absolutely been treating me great and really enjoying it.
That is so cool. And like Sligo is such a beautiful part of the world as well.
Absolutely,
so it's like
yeah.
class, you can be out and about. What my next thing was, you're the same as Elaine. You have am I right in saying that you were on a sports scholarship as well?
Yeah, this is my third year of the scholarship program. So I suppose I was very fortunate to get it in first year, and I've gotten it every year since. So delighted to be a part of that. That gang of people, and the support from the college has been absolutely incredible, both financial and they're offering you mentorship and coaching and stuff like that. It was a wee bit, I wasn't really anticipating to get it, if I'm honest. I think it was my dad who told me to go for it and found it, and told me to go for it. I was very low profile in Monaghan, back where I'm from, so it was kind of slipping through the radar. But just before September, when we started, I entered my first strongman competition, and after that I got sponsored by SBD, a great company, and filmed with Joe.ie and stuff like that. So I think after that I decided to go for it, and the college loved all the stories, and I suppose it was a very unique sport. Strongman wasn't very popular in Sligo, and yeah, so that's how I got that, and it's been great.
That's brilliant. What an amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you about motivation. So do you have any tips for staying motivated through lockdown? All the uncertainty with the Leaving Cert at the moment, like, do you have ways of getting motivated yourself that you think are useful?
Yeah, so for me personally, and a lot of people, I've been doing a lot of online coaching with clients over lockdown, and I find it's the same for them. But I am a big believer that motivation comes from momentum. So you're really just getting the foot on the ladder and taking baby steps, and it's a lot easier to stay motivated once you're doing a few weeks or a few days of something. You're building habits, and you're building on those habits. So I think the first step to getting motivated is building a little bit of momentum and getting going. And starting out, you might need to force yourself initially to do whatever it is. If it's studying a sport, getting through the Leaving Cert, you might have to force yourself some days. I don't think anyone's fully motivated every day, and if they say they are, they're either very special or maybe lying a little bit. But I think you just really do have to get on with it, get some momentum going, and keep building from there. And then once you get your foot in the ladder, and once you get going, it's a lot easier to stay motivated. It's a lot easier to keep chipping away and getting on with it. So
that's good. That's such good advice. And I think it is so important that, like, you have to start small, and you have to, like, be realistic with your goals.
Absolutely.
Because if you just start thinking of everything, you're just going to get super overwhelmed.
Yeah, no, it'll be chaos up in your head, and you just need to set smaller goals and take it day by day, week by week.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have like one final tip for anyone in Leaving Cert right now that you would give to them?
Yeah, so I suppose go back to the motivation, get momentum going, set the small
Mm.
goals, and most importantly, I think keep saying and look after yourself. You know, it's a very uncertain time, and we don't know where we're going to be in a few months' time. Will we be back to normal? If the Leaving Cert's going to go back to its traditional self in the hall, if it's going to go off last year's, or a mix of between. But look after yourself. Make sure you're getting time to go outside, participate in the activities that you normally participate in. Look after yourself, both sleep, food, everything like that. We did a talk there for the last open day with Eddie Murphy, clinical psychologist, and he was giving really, really good advice, and advice that I took from it too, just about making sure you're fueling yourself like a phone almost. You plug your phone in at night and charge it up, but are you doing the same to yourself, and are you making sure you're getting your sleep and right fuel and everything like that? So I think everything like that will take a massive play and have a massive effect on your Leaving Cert.
That's exactly it. That was brilliant tips. Thank you so much, Dara. You have
Yeah, no
been
problem at
so
all.
brilliant tonight.
Thank you very much
So
for having me.
I'll let you go now too as well. Thanks a
Perfect.
million.
Thank you. See you now.
Bye. Okay, so that was it. It was basically just going to be like a quick half hour of chatting to those three people. Thank you so much, Elaine, Luke, and Dara. Your tips were absolutely amazing. I'm going to say just really quickly again, like the IT Sligo were a partnership with us on this live. We're doing it tonight because they're doing their virtual open evening, which is on right now. It should be 7 o'clock now. It's on from 7 until 9. 100% worth checking it out. Doesn't cost anything to go. Just go online to itsligo.ie. They have virtual tours, like I said at the beginning, virtual tours, Q&As, Q&A booths with lecturers and students. Like, you'll find out so much. It's super interactive, and I've been told as well there's a chance to win a laptop, so you might as well go over it. So thank you so much to everyone who tuned in, and hopefully we'll get this up on IGTV ASAP. Thanks again, everyone. Good night. Oh, how do I get out?